In this video, I'm going to show you how to properly format your preliminary pages, including the title page, signature page, copyright page, and the other preliminary pages. The first thing to notice is that on the first 3 pages of the template, you see a number of areas with parentheses. Anywhere that you see parentheses, you must remove the parentheses and put in your relevant information. There's a note here to exactly that effect. Obviously, you should also delete this note prior to submission. So that means, for instance, here, you'll replace this with whatever your title is, and perhaps you have a subtitle as well. And notice that I'm using what's called title case capitalization, where you capitalize the first letter of every word except for small linking words. Here you'll replace this with your full name. Let's imagine that this is a dissertation. So you remove the parentheses and you remove the extraneous language. And then this one's important. For this line right here, it should say one of these 2 things, or a different one if you have a different degree type. But it would say Master of Science only in all caps, or it would say Doctor of Philosophy only in all caps. In other words, you don't put your department or your specific major, you just put the degree type. And notice that it's not Doctorate of Philosophy, it's Doctor of Philosophy, or it's Master of Science. So again, replace this, so on and so forth. Replace the year. Again, wherever you see parentheses, they should be removed. Now the signature page is important because you're actually going to obtain the signatures of your major professor, of your committee members, and of your department chair, and then the graduate school will obtain the signature of the graduate dean. But it's crucial that before you get any of those signatures, you format this page correctly. And it should look exactly as it is here, except that you remove the parentheses and replace it with your information. So again, if we're pretending this is a dissertation, this line should read as follows. Your name will appear as it says, exactly as it appears on the title page. And again, remove the parentheses. Replace this one, so on and so forth. Don't forget the year. And the other thing that's important here is that you can rearrange these as needed. Now the point is you need to have your major professor, your committee members, your department chair, and Dr. Sarin. But it may well be that you don't need all of these spaces. You may have, for instance, 1 major professor and 3 committee members, as well as your department chair. If needed, you can move Dr. Sarin's entry. Now you can either move this box, you can actually move each of these boxes, and you can line them up wherever you need them to go. But you could also do this. If you needed to, for instance, remove one of these entries because you don't have 7 entries in total, you could simply place Dr. Sarin's information here, as long as you copy it carefully. And in each of these cases, it's critical that you type the name and delete the parentheses. So you should put your major professor's name here, and then they will sign on the line above it once it's printed out. So again, you would do that for each of these. And if you did move Dr. Sarin's entry up here, of course, you would also delete this additional one. And you can adjust the spacing slightly as needed, but the point is you don't want to leave extra spaces. You could also, for instance, if you only had 5 total, you could put the department chair up here. And I'm just putting this as an abbreviation for the purpose of this video. You could delete this one. You could move this over. So again, it's fairly flexible, but it has to have the top portion correct without any of the parentheses remaining. And it has to have all the appropriate individuals represented. One other tiny note to keep in mind is that we put Dr. Sanjeev Sarin on here. Now, it's possible and it's permissible to use a different format, which would be like this. You could have Sanjeev Sarin, comma, PhD, if you want to do that for all of your other entries. But the point is, you should use a consistent style. whether it's doctor in front or whether it's PhD or whatever their degree is after the name. Remember also that the same thing applies for the copyright page. Make sure you delete the parentheses and include your name exactly as it appears, as well as the year. And then finally, with the biographical sketch, make sure that this is written in paragraph form, and it needs to be written in the third person. So you do not use I, but you refer to yourself. So you write you start this with your full name, and you can continue from there. And you can see some examples or ask us for some examples if you need them. But the point is it's written in the third person. And then the dedication and acknowledgments pages are optional, but if you include them, make sure you write them as clear paragraph form.